In this video, we will be talking about how school rules vary across cultures. In Sweden, the word gymnasium means upper high school or grades 10 through 12. These 3 grades are optional. Students have 18 programs to choose from nationally. They will all last 3 years. 6 of them are for higher education, and 12 of them are for practically structured for an outlook on life. Each of these programs have entrance requirements. These requirements do differ across programs, but they all have requirements, such as passing grades in Swedish, English, and mathematics. There are upper secondary schools for people with intellectual disabilities, as well as different programs that could target athletes, for example. In 2014, about 88% of the upper secondary students received their diploma. Also in Sweden, A to E are passing grades, while F is a failing grade. Grades begin to be assigned in their 6th year of schooling.
Iceland has a very high level of education. They have 4 levels that allow for equal opportunities. The levels are preschool education, ages 12 months to 6 years, compulsory education, ages 6 to 16, which is the only mandatory level by law. They have upper level secondary education, ages 16 to 20, which is not required, and higher education, which is university level. Anyone who has completed upper secondary education in Iceland can apply and get accepted to the University of Iceland. This does have a few exceptions of courses like medical and dentistry. Other than the University of Iceland, which is the only school in Iceland required to accept all students and the largest, Iceland has 7 other schools and universities. To attend a state university in Iceland, there are no tuition fees required. Attending no private schooling could make your whole education process free for you to attend from preschool to higher education.
In Ireland, primary school is broken up into 8 grades, with slightly different names than what we would hear in the United States. The preschool equivalent in Ireland is called junior infants. Kindergarten is referred to as senior infants. Grades are called classes. In the United States, we would say 1st through 6th grade, where in Ireland, it's 1st through 6th class. Most of these schools are known as national schools, run by the government, and 90% of them are Catholic schools. Due to the demand for non-religious schools in Ireland, there are a growing number of Educate Together schools. Educate Together schools have no religious affiliation that parents choose to send their kids to. Unlike the national schools that are free to attend, many of the Educate Together schools have a fee associated with them, as they are not government funded. Also in Ireland, secondary school is made up of 2 cycles, a 3-year junior cycle and a 2-year senior cycle. Each of these cycles are followed by a state exam, the junior certificate and the leaving certificate. Students must pass these exams to move on to the next cycle.
Schooling in Spain is government funded and compulsory between the ages of 6 and 16. Parents must pay for books, materials, and sometimes uniforms for their children. Since some private schools are publicly funded, the line between public and private is blurred. Spanish schools' hours depends on each type of school. Some may run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a 2-hour lunch break between with something called a siesta, that is a 30-minute nap. Other schools may begin at 9 and end at 2 and may only have a 45 minutes lunch break and may not provide a cafeteria for children to eat at the school, and children often eat in the last class before they break. Some children also attend preschool, and in Spain it's divided into 2 cycles. The first cycle is for children between the age of 1 to 3, and the other one is between from 3 to 6. The first cycle of preschool is not free and you have to pay for it. Students in Spain are placed into one mixed level class and are with the same kids all day long, year after year. Students stay in the same classroom all the time and teachers change between the rooms. On higher education, you have 3 hours lections and it's only 1 exam in the end of the semester that counts 100% of your grade. Many classes also don't have any assignments or attendance during the semester, so it all counts on the final exam. In Spain, you are graded from 1 to 10.
Did you know in Australia, high school is only grades 11 and 12? Similar to America, the Australian education system is split into 3 major groups. Primary school is the first group and is usually 7 years long, starting with kindergarten or preparatory through to 6th or 7th grade. Secondary school is like their version of middle school and is about 3 to 4 years, ranging from 7th grade to 10th grade. Finally, what we know as high school is called senior secondary school. This is the last 2 years of their education before attending a college or university. After completing senior secondary school, students take their final exams to receive an official certificate of qualification. The name of the certificate varies within the states of Australia, but is recognized across the country and many institutions internationally.
Similar to Sweden, the Greek referred to middle school as Middle Gymnasio School. These 3 years continuously follow similar subjects. During these 3 years, the students themselves, parents of the students, and the students' teachers help the student decide which type of course study to follow during their secondary schooling. This is an important decision for the student because this choice may set them on a path to their career they will have for the rest of their life. This means in only middle school, students are choosing a direction of study that they could potentially have in a career forever. The secondary school in Greece has 2 paths, one that is similar to our high schools in America, which are academically focused, while the other is more hands-on and practically structured.
In Croatia, high schools are also called secondary education, and this option is currently optional. This level of education, if attended, is divided in different sections. There is an option to attend high schools or vocationary/art schools for the secondary education level. To get a high school education, the process is quite difficult. A student must first choose between 5 schools, either specializing in math and science, foreign languages with less science, Latin and ancient Greek curriculum, and a general education. They must list these schools in order of 1 being the track that they want to pursue the most. They also are judged based on a point system. These points are from events and extracurricular that are gathered from primary schooling. The students can have up to 80 points, and if they have below a certain number, they cannot sign up for that school. This process is because of the enrollment quota. With the completion of secondary school in Croatia, you are classified as a medium expert.
In Brazil, school attendance is mandatory, but is seldom enforced. This is due to a high poverty rate, where parents encourage their children to work and help the family over attending school. This leads to children receiving lower and lower levels of education and continues the poverty cycle. In Brazilian schools, it is common practice to mix upper-level classes with lower levels. All of the students must complete the same end-of-the-year exam to determine if they can move on to the next level or to repeat a year. Many times, students are held back, so the ages of classes tend to vary quite a bit. Brazil has a school lunch program that is the second largest in the world, feeding 42 million children each year. This is known as Brazil's Zero Hunger program. This not only reduces child hunger, but also helps local agriculture. Brazil's constitution requires that at least 30% of the ingredients for the Zero Hunger program be locally sourced.
Did you know that the degree programs in the US take about 1 year longer than the programs in England? Courses of study are shorter in England because the programs are generally much more focused than in the United States. Many schools start in September or October and end in May or June. The academic term is not standardized throughout England, and if you choose to study there, your university might use a much different calendar. British children also wear school uniforms, and they nearly always consist of a blazer, sweater, dress shirt, trousers, and skirt for girls. Students must ask a teacher's permission if they want to remove their blazer during class if they're too hot. Children from age 5 to 16 are required to attend school in England, on either state schools, private schools, or home schools. At the age of 16, students have a choice of whether they want to continue or not, and the price of attending school in England is also relatively low. On higher education, you have 3 hours lections and only 1 exam at the end of the semester that counts 100% of your grade. Many classes also don't have any assignments or attendance during the semester. In England, you are graded from A to F, and F is fail.
Did you know in Israel most students are required to join the military right after high school? Students are drafted into the Israel Defense Force at the age of 18. There are a few reasons for exemption, but some students may receive a deferment to attend a university or for religious reasons. According to a report, 43% of female draft candidates receive an exemption, while only 24% of eligible men were not drafted. If they are drafted, men are required to serve for 3 years, and women are required to serve for 21 months. After completing their service, they are assigned to a reserve unit where they can be called upon in a time of crisis.